Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl JoJo, and I'm here with the review for Love and Marriage Huntsville season blank, episode blank. I never know what's up, right? I hope you guys are doing good today. I am doing well. It's Sunday. It is Sunday for me, and I'm supposed to be at the gym, but I said I was going to do some of the review before I went to the gym, and then I'm going to do the rest of the review after I get out the gym. And then somewhere in this day, I got to do Heart and Hustle Houston as well. Very busy day as far as reviews go. But yes, let's talk about what happened on this show. Y'all don't know this, but when I watch Love and Marriage Huntsville, I never watch it all the way through. I always watch half of the show, and by 20 minutes into the show, exactly 20 minutes every time, they got on my nerves, and I gotta pause the show and come back. And I know you're asking, but JoJo, why did you review the show if everybody get on your nerves? It's a question I continue to ask myself. Why did I start reviewing this show if everybody get on my nerves? I really don't know. You know what I do know? I thought the show was going to be a lot more interesting. I didn't think they was going to get on my nerves. I thought I was going to enjoy them. But it hasn't been going that way. But since I'm already in it, I got to keep going because we in it. And low-key, I think y'all like when I do these reviews slightly irritated because I get the snapping and shading and carrying on. And I think some of y'all enjoy that. Y'all enjoy a little bit of my misery because of the result. So let's get into what happened on the episode. I definitely had moments where I cackled just a bit. I am so stalling going to the gym, but I know once I go, I'll feel so much better, but I'm doing everything but right now. All right, so Lord, Nell and Tisha, we pick up where we left off. Now, I'm pretty sure we saw Tisha get in her car to leave, but I guess production said, oh, no, you better get on back in there, and you better talk to Nell, because we need that to get done so we can finish out this scene and so you can get your check. So Tisha goes back inside, and she was like, Nell, we're going to have a conversation, but if you're going to yell at me, then we're not going to talk. Nell said, I'm not yelling at you. And she was like, yeah, but if we're going to have, do you really want to have a conversation? Because if so, you don't get to talk to me. This is a place where I have my son's PTA meetings. Like, we're not going to yell in here. And Nell said again, Tisha, I'm not yelling at you. And she says in her confessionals, if I was raising my voice, believe me, you would know. And I believe that about Nell. So, long story short, they come in, they talk, and Tisha tells Nell, like, I really need you to understand what this does to me. I have had people talking about my marriage on here for years, back and forth, all the time, and what it does to me as a woman and what it does to my marriage. It is hard. She gets emotional. They show a montage of everybody accusing Martell of doing something. And Nell does understand. Did y'all see that Tisha slid in? I would expect Nell to know where I'm coming from because she's actually dealt with her husband having infidelity on her. She's actually dealt with her husband cheating on her. We're still going with that. Okay, Tisha is always going to go with, until y'all catch Martell doing something, I am not going to believe it. Until y'all put the proof in the video in my hands, I'm going to go with, my husband is not cheating on me. Lord, I broke into a little coughing fit. My bad, y'all. So, back to it. Nell does say she understands she needs to give Tisha some grace, and she knows where she's coming from for sure. They also talk about the mentor thing. I guess is what got a lot of stuff popped off with them, was Nell telling somebody that she was mentoring Tisha. And she said, I thought I was helping, but that was not what I should have said, and, from now on. And Tisha said, okay, so you out the mentorship thing? And she said, well, actually, no, I'm never out of it because I'm certified in that. I am a certified life coach. And Tisha asked, in the confessionals, of course, Nell is a certified life coach. Who gave her that certification? If she has a certification, I must have a... Tisha, please. Okay? You couldn't coach nobody. You can't coach your own life. You can't coach your own, so you couldn't coach nobody's life if you tried. Even if they put the certification in your hand and you took all the classes, you still wouldn't be able to do it because it's too damn petty to be a life coach. You'd be somewhere thinking they was spilling tea instead of having a session. So, of course, she laughs about that, in her confessionals, but in person, she's like, oh, I didn't know you was a life coach. So either way, they're going to try to work on their relationship. It's foolishness because when she get in there with Martell, her and Martell, what I've noticed about the two of them is the only time they really have a good conversation is if they're talking about somebody, like gossiping. You know, they never really have a close interpersonal husband and wife conversation, in my opinion anyway. If they ain't talking about them kids, they talking about somebody, and that's probably the only time she gets any type of feeling or emotion out of Marcel on camera anyway. She's talking about the conversation she had with Nell. This is the episode where all of the spouses are going to give their spouse reasonably sound advice, and their spouse is going to ignore it. This is the episode for that. So the sound advice that Marcel tries to give Tisha is about destiny. Tisha is comparing the relationship between her and Nell, which is not doing so well, but they trying to do something. But what are you really trying to do if you sitting there being shady the whole time, talking about the conversation y'all just had? And then she compares that to the conversation that she had with Trish. That's the last time they talked. And Trish was on the same wave of vulnerability that Nell was on, so she ain't really sure about that. She just wish her and the other girls could be more like Kimmy and Destiny's relationship. See, me, Kimmy, and Destiny, we had a conversation at the shop. We hashed everything out because we've known each other a lot longer. And you call that conversation y'all had at that store productive? You call that conversation a conversation amongst friends? Because that's not what we heard. We heard a bunch of passive aggressiveness and shady behavior disguised as we all get along, because hell, we don't get along with nobody else, so we got to at least try with each other. Marcel gives Tisha the advice that she need to be careful with Destiny. Destiny's a friend to all, and by all we mean Martell. And Martell's about 7 people, so that tracks. But he said a friend to all is a friend to none. She kind of friends with everybody right now. So you need to be careful with that. You need to be careful what you tell her. And Tisha's like, you are right, because she did tell us while we was there that her loyalty with an R is to Martell. So, I mean, that is true, but that's not going to stop Tisha. Tisha going to be right back over there with Destiny doing a whole bunch of talking and comparing notes and whatever other shady behavior they do between each other. They going to do that same thing. They not real friends anyway, but I did feel like Marcel gave her some good advice. Like, you need to be careful with that relationship, because at the end of the day, she is still Martell's friend. Marcel is the only one just trying to stay away from Martell. And we're going to talk about all that in a minute. You know what? I forgot to mention that also during this scene, Tisha tells the daughter that they're going to have to start working on their advertising of their hair products on social media a little bit more. And Marcel comes in and said, you got to talk in money, because that's all they understand. That's all they like. And Tisha said, well, you can stop giving them money. The daughter was like, but hey, hush. All right, don't mess up my bag. Don't mess up my bag. But whatever Tisha don't got on this show, her daughter does have. Because her daughter was like, Dad, you used to be my favorite parent, but you just going lower and lower on the scale lately, because you just don't be doing the things I need you to do. I said, put the daughter on the show. Maybe she'll give us more than her mama giving. All right. Another example of a spouse trying to give their spouse advice that they're not listening to. Kimmy, there was something that you said in this conversation that I want to say now so that I don't forget. You said to you said to Maurice, I don't believe that Martell is going to respect information from somebody that he doesn't respect. He don't respect you. So you coming in and telling him anything or giving him any advice doesn't matter. The fact that Maurice doesn't take your advice, what does that say about you as his wife? Have you ever thought about it? Because you was talking some good sense. But now I wonder, do you take it in and apply it to yourself? The fact that Maurice does not always listen to you when you give him sound advice as his wife. Is there a respect issue at play, or does that just apply to Martell? Does it apply to Maurice or no? Let's think on that. Let's move into the conversation that she had, though. Maurice comes in, and I'm not going to remember everything he said verbatim, but what he's telling Kimmy is Martell has changed so much. This interview thing and all the things that he's been doing has just seemed very vengeful. I want Martell to get back to being the very nice guy he used to be, because what a lot of people don't know is, out of all of us, Martell is actually the kindest one. Martell is the one who was doing for the kids. Martell is the one who was helping around the house, helping with the business. Martell was genuinely the nice guy. All right. And I want to get him back to being that nice guy. I think we need to have a conversation. Kimmy is saying, I don't think we need to do any of that. I think it's a bad idea. I think that Martell has gotten himself into this situation, and now he's looking for everybody to pull him out, but he's the one damaging himself. He's jumping in the fire, getting burned, and asking for all of y'all to pull him out. Now, I'm not agreeing, y'all. This is just what Kimmy is saying about Martell, right? I'm going to tell you how I feel when I'm done. And I just don't agree with that. I think that you don't need to be going over there to him. I think you need to go ahead and let him crash and burn. You all will have conversations that go seemingly well. Y'all will have these counseling type conversations. Martell will say, okay, bruh, I feel you. And then next thing you know, he's doing the total opposite and throwing you under the bus. So when when Maurice asked her, well, have you ever tried seeing it from his perspective? And she was like, I have tried seeing it from his perspective. He feels like he did everything right. Y'all did everything wrong. And y'all were not deserving of the servitude and the what you were getting from us as wives, that y'all did not deserve that. He always felt like y'all didn't deserve the service and the plates being made. So I do see it from his side. I did all of this and I still lost my family and y'all still have yours. I was just like, we gonna talk about that too. Maurice is determined to go talk to Martell. All of this is for naught. He is determined to go talk to Martell. Kimmy tells him, if he don't respect you, he really not gonna listen to you. And right now, we are not people he respects. She said a word. She was not wrong. But y'all know Maurice, he don't care about none of that. Maurice Luther King is always going to do what he wants to do. He believes he's an orator. He thinks his words is going to have this dramatic effect on people. I'm here to tell you, it does not. Because not only did they not have a good meeting, but Martell got to laughing in his face. But let me tell you what I thought about this whole scenario. In telling Maurice to stay away from Martell, don't even bring it up, I believe Kimmy was right. I think, I'll tell you more of what I think Maurice is trying to do when I talk about the conversation he had with Martell. But I personally think, as somebody who's been watching this show from the very beginning, I've missed a couple of episodes. I've tapped out some of the seasons. But for the most part, I try to stay up to date on what's going on in the show, even when I'm not reviewing. I remember season 1, season 2, when it did seem like Martell was crashing out for a little bit. It did seem like him and Mel at one point, especially that second season, it seemed like the two of them were crashing out together. And Melody will always say, my husband did really, I could not get my words out today. My husband really did not start acting differently in our relationship until he started hanging out with the Scott brothers. And she would talk about how they would go out together and it couldn't just be my husband doing stuff. And I used to think in season 1 that Mel, because her marriage had gone up in smoke, she kind of wanted to put some speculation out on everybody else's marriage. I did think she was doing that. I thought they both were doing that. Martell was doing that. But Martell was doing it because in his mind, Martell was a good husband. He really did. He felt like, I am a good husband. I do all of the things. I'm there for my wife. We own this business together. I have a close personal relationship with my children. I help with my children. I cook. I clean. I do all of the things. I wait on Melody, according to his mama. You know, his mama used to say, he wait on you hand and foot and all this stuff when you have a baby. I didn't have that. So we know that Martell was doing the things, and it's not just from his mouth. Other people have said it too. Martell felt like these men be stepping out and they don't even do half the stuff I do for my wife. So if they can do it, why can't I do it and still get the same love and care and servitude that they get? Because they not even good husbands and they get it. At least I'm a good husband. And as the show started to go on, I started to see. Now, granted, just because they do something don't mean you need to do it. Didn't nobody tell you to do that. And just because they women accept something don't mean male gonna accept it. That was the part that Martell always had a hard time with. He always felt like Mel should have stayed because I'm a way better husband than them. I'm a way better husband than most. But for some women, all of that don't matter. Okay? You don't get to cheat on me, disrespect me, and I stick around because you help with the kids or you help cook or you help clean or whatever. I'm not standing for it. I'm not standing for it. And I think they had additional problems even outside of the cheating with, the way Martell spoke to her. I don't think she was getting everything she wanted sexually. They had other little things going on in between there. But I think Martell was genuinely shocked that his marriage to Mel did not go the way that the other marriages went. Like, why can't I disrespect you off to the side and still get to keep you as my wife? But let's not forget, one of the cardinal rules that Martell forgot was, it seemed to me, Marsau and Maurice, whatever they do, they dip in, dip out. You had a long-term affair with the same woman. And so that's where, to me, Marsau and Maurice kind of be looking at Martell like, actually, you not like us. See, we cheat, but we don't form no permanent connections. You cheated, got people pregnant, and had a whole affair. See, we wasn't doing all that. We got vasectomies. So all the men, what the common denominator is to me, all of these men think they are right and think they are good in their own way, in their own little way. But the reason why Martell crashed out the way he did is because he really did genuinely feel like he was a good husband, a good person. There's no way I should have lost my wife. But since I did, and it was, in my opinion, under y'all's influence, I'm going to make sure that everybody know that y'all are some terrible husbands. But the thing is, it's not gonna work the same, Martell. It's not gonna work because women don't seem to care. As long as it don't come out publicly and as long as they are not embarrassed, they do not seem to care. They do not seem to care. And they not having no long-term affairs the way you did. None of it is right. None of it was right. I'm just saying it's all very, very different. And at the end of the day, Martell, you are responsible for your own behavior. But Martell said, listen, I'm called out. Everybody think I'm the terrible one. Everybody else get called out too, hell. That's what he's going with. But that's been Martell's issue for the longest. I was a good husband. Y'all never were. And I lost everything and y'all lost nothing, quote unquote. And there was another content creator who breaks this down at length, way better than I just did. I don't think she reviews the show anymore, but Mind of Lilith. If I find the old video where she talked about it, I will link it, but I probably will not be able to dig it up. But she did a real in-depth discussion on the whole thing between Martell and the other guys. So with all that being said, the conversation does not go well. It starts out good. Martell lying about wanting to get married to Arian again, and now he's I'm not going through that. They do pleasantries, small talk. Then they move into Martell's well-being and mental health because Maurice says, I've been worried about you, dog. And Martell was like, worried about me? I'm good. What you worried about me for? And he was just like, well, it just seems like, the Martell we used to know, the good guy. I don't know where he is. It seems like you've been the villain so long that you've become comfortable being the villain. And Martell is just looking. And he says that he doesn't know he don't know who this man is anymore, but he want to get his old Martell back. And Martell was just like, I mean, I can see why you would think that. And maybe I have become a little comfortable being the villain because I was being attacked. I wasn't saying nothing about Marsau. I wasn't saying nothing about Tisha. And listen, outside of that crash and burn him and Mel had when they had got back together or when they decided they was going to work out their marriage, for the most part, he wasn't really going into detail about what he knew. He was just kind of throwing out stuff here and there. Like, I was the only one? I was the only one that cheated? Oh, I'm the only one cheating on my wife? Oh, I had 20 women? Oh, okay. He was kind of doing a lot of that, like a lot of speculation. But when he felt like he was being attacked and he felt like they kept coming at him and some of that was lies, according to Martell, he felt like he needed to defend himself. And when he said he brought the young lady out for the interview, he didn't want to do that. I didn't even want to do that. When I told the date and time, my expectation and my hope was that Marsau would call me before that date and time and we could just squash the whole thing. And I wouldn't have to do the interview with the young lady. And Maurice was like, in doing that interview, Marsau was not the only person that you talked about. And, Martell, he got a list in his head. He was like, you absolutely right. I went ahead and added you to the list too. Let me tell you why. Because when we were at the reunion and Carlos asked me about my case, you get to staring off into space. Like, I always feel like y'all don't have my back on stuff. Y'all do not have my back. Even when it comes to having conversations with your brother, me and you've hashed it out. Me and you have talked about the situation with Marcel, the situation about Tisha, and we'll have a good conversation, but I feel like you don't try to have any conversations with your brother about what's been going on. I wanted him to go into more detail about that. Are we talking about like keeping the cheating quiet? Are we talking about respect? What we talking about? But anyway, because Maurice was kind of nodding like, yeah, you're right. We have had our own conversations. I haven't. He wasn't saying like yes or no, but he kind of was looking with some type of acknowledgement. And then he says, as far as the reunion goes, the reason why I looked off into space and didn't say nothing is because it was you versus the state of Alabama, right? And did your lawyer advise you to even be talking about the case? What did your lawyer advise you to do? And Martell couldn't do nothing but laugh. He was like, my lawyer advised me to shut up and not talk about it. And he was like, exactly. I was kind of looking like, we ain't saying nothing. You don't need to respond to nothing. But you kept wanting to talk about it, and nothing had been... The case hasn't been dismissed yet, right? So that's why I had that look on my face. And then, y'all know, Maurice Luther King can't have a conversation with nobody without bringing it back to him and his accomplishments and his accolades and his story and his testimony, right? So now we got to go into talking about what happened to Maurice and his drunk driving incident. He was like, you want to know what happened? I wish I could do the Maurice voice. What happened with my DUI? And he starts telling Martell about his DUI and how him and Kimmy both left from Black at the same time. And Kimmy, y'all had to hear the way, go watch it, please, if you did not. The way he was telling the story, it was very calculated, very meticulous, very bullet pointish. Like, we got to write this down and make sure our story is straight. And Kimmy and I both left from Black at the same time, okay? Kimmy took me to my car, took me back to the office because that's where my car was. We left the office at the same time. I went by my alibis. Oh, excuse me. I went by my friend's house, Sidaric and whoever. I went to pull up on them, JB. And I was there for about 30 minutes. He had like he talking to the popo. When I left, I hit an animal. And then when I hit an animal, I hit a tree and a pole. Y'all, why Martell started laughing? I said Martell ain't worth a damn. Well, that boy ain't worth a damn. And why was I, when he started laughing, I started laughing. Now, great, look, y'all. I'm not laughing at no DUI. That's not funny. I'm not laughing at the fact that this man could have lost his life. He could have also caused someone else to lose theirs. That's not funny. And why did Martell ask him, did you hit the animal or did the animal make it? He said the animal made it. And that made it even funnier. But I'm laughing because Maurice is full of it. Maurice is full of it. Now, listen, I wasn't too much following the show in depth during this DUI situation. I know the case was dismissed. But was the story that there was an animal and then a tree and then a pole? Because I promise you, I hadn't heard nothing about no animal before. But again, I wasn't that involved. So he could have always been using the same story. But to me, the story sounds a bit sketchy. Exactly 30 minutes. You went to holler at old boy and them. Take your ass home. That's another thing about this show. Everybody always with the guys. Always hanging out with the boys. And y'all know I love the girls. So I hang out with mine too. But the night is over. Y'all done left Black. You done went and picked your car from the office. Carry your ass home is what you do. Because what you making extra stops for anyway. But that's besides the point. He lets Martell know you're laughing, but my case was dismissed. Are you going to laugh when your case is dismissed? And Martell said, absolutely I am. It's going to be funny when it's dismissed. Martell was cracking himself up. He was like, dog, I'm sorry. An animal, a pole, and a tree, and the animal made it. Because the story just sounds like something you made to cover your tail. It does sound like that. But all of this to say, Martell is fully in his villain mode, okay? His origin story, Huntsville, Alabama. I forgot the year. He got his villainette by his side. I did the interview. I'm not taking it back. And Maurice was like, but what you did was you made your friends look bad. You did this to your friends. And you were on there crashing and burning. You had that girl. Who is that girl? Do we even know this girl? He was like, I do know the girl. It was the girl we was with in Vegas. Do you know Maurice said, and what did you see? Were you there? Were you there, Maurice? Martell has said He was not there for all of the things. He keeps telling us, I was there in the beginning. I was there for the initial. As somebody who's been in a space where some things was about to pop off that I didn't want to be a part of, but they was getting started, you can be around during the initial moments of something, but not be involved in the actual act. All right? I've had that happen before. So I get what Martell is saying. Like, I was in the room when some stuff was about to get popped off, but I don't know exactly what y'all did. Do y'all know Maurice gonna ask him, okay, well, bro, if you were there, I have a very specific type of anatomy. What does my P word look like? And you know, by P word, I don't know if I can say it on the YouTube, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Martell is just like, boy, I don't know what I'm not looking at you like, y'all. If my homegirls is about to get into some action, regardless if it's one or two of them, I'm not looking at they vag and his situation. Well, you know, I'm not looking at all of that, right? I'm not looking to see where your moles are. I'm not looking to see if it's curved. I might look to see if it's curved, but I'm a woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking at all of that, right? All I'm trying to do is get out y'all business, get out the room, because I'm not involved and I'm not a voyeur in that way. So I'm not trying to look, not too long. I'm trying to get out the room. So Martell is just like, he was like, first you said you were gambling, then you said you were in the room. Martell is just like, I was in the room and I was gambling. Like I said I was there in the beginning. Maurice, you make it yourself. This is looking worse and worse. Be quiet. This is why Kimmy said don't even go over there, because you wasn't going to be able to, if any part of the story is true, you would have done better not to even go talk to Martell and bring it up. If any part of it's true, because you gonna waste your time trying to negate little pieces of it, trying to get Martell to expose himself and what parts of it was a lie. If any of it is true, just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Because Martell said, sue me. And baby, them was the magical words right there. Maurice couldn't do nothing but look, and I said, all right. Now see, this is what got me thinking that some of it might be true, because why aren't y'all suing? And I know it'd probably be a waste of time, a waste of money trying to sue for defamation. But yeah, y'all done sued other people. Y'all done put out claims against YouTubers. So why you didn't put one against Martell and this girl if they was straight up lying? You didn't think it was a waste of time to do a cease and desist amongst, regular folks, right? Yeah. She was a fairy. Now, granted, I saw the interview. I don't believe everything old girl was saying, because sometimes she couldn't even pronounce the names right. But I do think there is some truth to the night in Vegas. I think there's some truths to the night in Vegas. I think some things went on. I think some things went on that nobody wants exposed. Nobody. And Martell got his finger hot on that trigger. Do not try this, man. So the conversation don't go well. It was a waste of time. I think they're going to try it again next week, we see. But, yeah, Maurice Luther King, how do you feel about yourself? All right, I skipped some parts of the episode because I've been doing this review way, way, way too long. So I need to close it out. But, Nell and Chris do end up talking about the conversation she had with Tisha. It ain't much to talk about there. She just kind of gives him an overview that you give the husbands. And we're going to talk more about them and, the whole situation with the son next week, too. But I want to get into Kimmy and Maurice and Martell meeting up on the unsuccessful meetup that Maurice had with Martell. I noticed Kimmy brought Maurice brought Kimmy to the meeting, but Marceau did not bring Tisha. But Maurice gives him the update on what happened and how he's going to have a guys' night and he would like for everybody to be there. And Marceau is looking at him like, what is about this? Do you not understand? I don't want to talk to Martell. Martell is, to him, a liar, and he's throwing me under the bus. He don't care about my marriage. He don't care about me. I don't want to talk to that man. He's crazy. And Kimmy is sitting there just kind of like, I already told him. I already said that I just do not think, I think Martell is beyond reason at this point. He done did a whole interview. I just did not think it was going to go well. It did not go well. And I'm not sure why this man is continuing. Did y'all see Kimmy's face when he said he asked Maurice asked Martell about his anatomy? Kimmy was just looking like stupid. Like she looked almost appalled, but she know her stupid ass husband, and she looked at Marcel like, yeah, this is what I'm dealing with at my house. I know what you got going on at your house too. So we really need to get together, us two, and have a drink. Oh my goodness, y'all. Oh my goodness. Sometimes I wish they could wife swap. I wish Martell could get Tisha, because they about slow together. They wouldn't get nothing accomplished, but they would enjoy each other for about 2 weeks. And then I wish Kimmy would get Marsau, because she like all them strong man antics. And then, oh, no, because that would leave Mel with Maurice, and that ain't gonna go, because who really want Mel is Marsau. Okay, so maybe Kimmy need to get Martell. Because she definitely attracted to him. And Mel could, her and Marsau could have hate sex, because she can't stand him. And then we'll leave Tisha with Maurice. They can both just pontificate and talk each other to death and talk in circles, and it all be stupid. So we could do that. But yeah, again, Maurice ain't listening to nobody. He think he is the smartest person in the room, and it's just not it. It's not it. But we do see that Marsau must come around, because we do see him and Martell together on the next episode. So what did you guys think about this whole thing? Do you think Martell is lying on them, or do you think some is a lie, some in the midst of some of it is the truth there? What did y'all think about his interview with the girl? I did watch it, but child, it was very cringy, I'll tell you that. And what did you just think about the episode at large? I personally think Maurice is trying his best to do damage control, because he do not want no more information getting out. They all are doing damage control, but Marsau is doing it the silent way, and I think that's how Maurice should have kept it. We not filming with him, we not talking to him, because yeah, it's only making it worse. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see y'all for the next one. Bye.